Welcome to the Joy of Genealogy. If you've never watched another one of my videos, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome. So glad to have you on this journey through Scripture. This channel is dedicated to the study of Scripture, specifically those passages that tend to get skipped, they tend to get overlooked, the ones that look like a bunch of names and places that don't really make a whole lot of sense. I want to take my time and travel through those passages and try to make sense of them. Subsequently, I'm hoping that they make a little bit more sense for you as well. If this is your first video, so glad to have you here. Highly recommend, as always, that you start from the beginning, as this is meant to be a chronological study through Scripture, but I am hoping that you get something out of this video individually. We have been studying the 12 sons of Israel. We've been studying the sons themselves, their genealogies, and eventually we'll get to the tribes. I am excited to talk about the tribes. There's so much content that I'm trying to weed through and make sure that it makes the most sense for you. We are still studying the sons themselves and the genealogies, and today we're talking about Gad, specifically the genealogy of Gad, the son of Zilpah. When you type Gad into Bible Gateway, you get 88 results of 4 different types of Gad. You get Gad the person, you get the Gadites, you get Gad, a different person, a prophet in the time of David, which, full disclosure, I did not know anything about before I started this video, but there is another Gad. He is a prophet. He is in the days of David. I am interested to learn more about him. And finally, you get the Gadarenes. So you get a person, a people group, another person, and a place. I had originally wanted to do this video the same way I did my last video with Gad and Asher as one. But when I went to study Gad, found out there was a lot more content about him than I suspected in the first place, some of which is a little bit confusing. But we will get into that shortly. So for today's video, we are talking about Gad. As with my other genealogy videos, we will cover Genesis 46, Numbers 26, and at least one passage in the book of Chronicles. The Chronicles passage is, in my opinion, the most interesting, but we will do our due diligence and start with Genesis 46, verse 16. And the sons of Gad, Ziphion, Haggai, Shunai, Esbon, Eri, Arodai, and Areli. These are the sons of Gad. Pretty straightforward, very easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Also worth noting, verse 18, Gad, Asher, these are the sons of Zilpah, whom Laban gave to Leah his daughter, and these she bare unto Jacob, even 16 souls. Moving on to Numbers, chapter 26, verse 15 through 17. The children of Gad after their families, of Zephon, capital letters, the Zephonites. The capitals is meant to indicate its people group. I use italices for places and then regular old typing for people in general. So as the Zephonites are a people group, they are in capital letters. Also worth noting, the family of the Zephonites are from Zephon, which is different than Ziphion in Genesis 46. Of Haggai, the family of the Haggites. Of Shunai, the family of the Shunites. Of Ozni, the family of the Oznites. This one, you will notice, is the most distinctly different from Genesis, as Esbon becomes Ozni. Of Eri, the family of the Erites. Of Arod, the family of the Arodites. Of Areli, the family of the Arelites. So far, so good. Pretty straightforward, very standard genealogy, but it is worth covering as my channel is dedicated to genealogies. So I wanted to make this as visually understandable as I can. I'm a very visual learner, so sometimes when I hear names in places, they don't really register with me. I created this Excel document as a way of seeing the families and hoping to make sense of them. It is my goal by the end of my channel to be able to look up anybody in scripture and find where they fit in the genealogy and find what scripture references them. And by anybody, I mean anybody in a genealogical lineage, not everybody in particular, but if they're listed in a genealogy, I want to be able to find them. That being said, if you would like a copy of this particular Excel document, all you have to do is email me at joyofgenealogy@yahoo.com. Tell me what video you're watching, and I will send you either a blank copy or a filled out copy, depending on what you're looking for. And you can follow along and tweak it and make changes and make this look the way you want it to. So if you want a copy, joyofgenealogy@yahoo.com. As I said before, typically there's a passage in Genesis 46, there's a passage in Numbers 26, and there's one passage in Chronicles that talks about the genealogy of each of the 12 sons of Israel. For the tribe of Gad, it is particularly confusing. The wording of this passage does not exactly state directly what it's referring to, and the best that I could surmise is passage unclear. That doesn't mean we're not going to talk about it, but that means that I'm going to make as much sense of it as I possibly can. And if you have any additional insight, please feel free to leave it in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear some resources, but I am going purely from scripture to try to figure out as much as I can about the children of Gad. Again, to be distinguished from the Gadites, which I want to talk about in a later video. So in the book of Chronicles, you have one of two options. Either this passage says what I think it says, or there is absolutely no reference to specific genealogies of Gad. Of those two options, I'm going to say that this is about the children of Gad. So starting in First Chronicles, chapter 5, verses 11 through 17, we have, and the children of Gad dwelt against them in the land of Bashan unto Salcah. Who is the them in this passage? Best I can figure, it's verse 10. In the days of Saul, they made war with the Hagarites, who fell by their hand, and they dwelt in their tents throughout all the land east of Gilead. And the children of Gad dwelt over against them in the land of Bashan unto Salcah. So these two verses go hand in hand, and it's telling more of a story than it is a genealogy, but it is a bunch of places and it is a bunch of names, and I do want to take my time and go through it with you. So moving on to verse 12, you have Joel, the chief, Shapham, the next. What does the next mean? Not sure. I'm pretty sure that it either means either next in line for chief or just below the chief. Either way, Jani and Shaphat in Bashan. And their brethren of the house of their fathers were 1, Michael, 2, Meshulam, 3, Sheba, 4, Jorai, 5, Jachin, 6, Ziah, 7, Eber. Verse 13 in a nutshell. Verse 14 and 15 are particularly confusing. I'm going to pay as much attention as I can to the grammatical cues and try to make sense of these two verses as best I can. The way the verse reads, verse 14, these are the children of Abihail, the son of Hori, the son of Jeriah, the son of Gilead, the son of Michael, the son of Jeshishai, the son of Jehodo, the son of Buz. So rather than writing it out the way it's worded, I'm going to write it out the way that it makes the most sense, which is Buz begat Jehodo, who begat Jeshishai, who begat Michael, who begat Gilead, who begat Jeroah, who begat Horai, who begat Abihail. These are the children of Abihail, the son of all of these people. So Abihail's children, based on this little semicolon right here, are verse 15. I'm going to put verse 15 off to the side, though, and I'm going to do exactly what I just did. Ahai, the son of Abdiel, the son of Gunai, chief of the house of their fathers. So we have Gunai, who begat Abdiel, who begat Ahai, who are chief of the house of their fathers. So you have their brethren of the house of their fathers and chief of the house of their fathers, lineages of the children of Gad. Verse 16, and they dwelt in Gilead, in Bashan, and in her towns, and in all the suburbs of Sharon upon their borders. And all these were reckoned by genealogies in the days of Jotham, king of Judah, and in the days of Jeroboam, king of Israel. If you ask me, this is the most important verse in this passage. And the reason why I think it's the most important is because it sets the stage for where we are in history. The other passages tell us where we are in geography, and this tells us where we are in the lineage of kings. And this is a great reference verse for the rest of Scripture. When we get into the kings, which I'm really excited to do because honestly I have so much to learn, it's going to be really helpful to distinguish between the king of Judah and the king of Israel. When the children of Israel are split into two, it can be really confusing talking about one king and another king at the same time. And there is a time period where both the kings have the same name, just to make it all the more confusing. All of that to say, when we talk about the kings, I will be able to show you where Jotham, king of Judah, and Jeroboam, king of Israel, are in Scripture, and then you'll be able to make a little bit more sense of this particular passage in the book of First Chronicles. There is one other passage that I want to briefly talk about today, but I'm not going to cover. First Chronicles chapter 12, verse 8. Of the Gadites, there separated themselves unto David into the hold to the wilderness men of might and men of war, fit for the battle, that could handle shield and buckler, whose faces were like the faces of lions, and were swift as the roes upon the mountains. These were of the sons of Gad, captains of the host. One of the least was over 100, and the greatest was over 1,000. These men are fascinating. They're overlooked, and they're a group that I want to talk about when I talk about the Gadites. The reason I think this is so interesting is because if you circle back to the last video, Gad Part A, Genesis 30, and Leah said, a troop cometh, and she called his name Gad. The Gadites are men of war. I have yet to do full research on them for my video C, but I would suspect, based on this passage, based on the last passage, and based on his name alone, that the tribe of the Gadites will be involved in a lot of war, a lot of battle. I'm looking forward to studying them and seeing where they show up in Scripture and talking a lot more about First Chronicles chapter 12 in that video. But for now, this is all that we know about the genealogy of Gad. Later, we'll talk more about the tribe. And next video, I will talk about Asher. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate you being here, taking the time to watch it. If you have any thoughts or comments or anything you'd like to add, please feel free to do so. If you want to email me, joyofgenealogy@yahoo.com. I appreciate the feedback. and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye!